why the new IGP should call Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho to a roundtable discussion. Yesterday, Buhari appointed Usman Alkali Baba as the acting IGP, and this upliftment comes with high expectations from the federal government and Nigerians, and the primary assignment would be to restore peace in the country. If you have been following activities in the country for the past few weeks, you realize that a lot needs to be done towards reuniting the nation. So the person writing the article says, I personally think that when all aggrieved parties settle their differences, there will be peace in the land, and the growing concern of insecurity will be a thing of the past. At the moment, there is an ongoing agitation for succession. While the Southeast are agitating for a sovereign state, Biafra Republic, the Southwest are pushing for the establishment of Oodua Republic, and those leading the chase are well known: Nnamdi Kanu and the self-acclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and also Sunday Igboho, a Yoruba human rights activist. For this new administration to be ranked as one of the best in the nation's history, Usman Alkali Baba will have to examine new approaches towards getting things done, and one of the approach, and preferably the first, should be to call Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu for a round table discussion. Dolores Loretta said, when you have a conflict, that means that there are truths that have to be addressed on each side of the conflict. And when you have a conflict, then it's an educational process to try to resolve the conflict. And to resolve that, you have to get people on both sides of the conflict involved so that they can dialogue. I strongly believe that if the new IGP can dialogue with them, they will see reasons why they need to stop their agitation for a sovereign state. With this move to the federal government in detail, will understand the true reason why they are unhappy and make efforts to see that there is equality and transparency in the government or in the governance of the country. Okay, that's the end of it. So basically, this whole thing just seems very out of touch, out of reality, it's not impossible, don't get me wrong, it's not impossible, but with the given circumstances of how the country is now and how it has been and how it's likely to be, this is it gives me very happily ever after vibes. You are making a very huge assumption that both parties want to listen. And I'm talking about the party specifically of the government. You are acting like as if they are consistent, and you are acting like as if they have proven to Nigerians that they are working to put their best interest at the forefront. So again, all this is nice to dialogue. I mean, they know that this is what they're meant to do. But then again, when interests vary and are very, very different to what the agitators for succession think, then they will obviously clash. So it's like a dialogue. I don't want to undermine, but the fact is, it's a huge assumption that we're making that Nigeria is a country for dialogue. The president does not even talk to his citizens. Where is so that example of dialogue from, the leader and the followers is just not there. So then how do you expect that to be replicated anywhere else? That example is not there. People were literally 12 hours even after people were killed in Lekki Tollgate. President Buhari never said anything. In fact, the Ghanaian president addressed Nigerians before the Nigerian president. So what is the dialogue thing here about? So again, it's like, what reasons do you have? Because again, this person now says to stop the agitators for, because they want to separate the country, disintegration, that dialogue would be the best way to try to, limit that and curb it. But do you understand the dialogue or the other side of the argument where the agitators for succession are coming from? Exactly. Why aren't you asking or taking into consideration why they want to separate? Yes, separation in the grand scheme of things is not necessarily the best thing, but we are the ones that will decide how we're going to relate if we do separate. And to be honest, whether we decide to separate into, 15 or 20 different countries within Nigeria or from the new Nigeria, it doesn't really matter as long as Africa itself is united. But then you can also argue that if we're not united on a micro scale, how do we expect to replicate that on a macro scale? That's an argument as well. But the fact is, dialogue just seems very naive and very, very. It's like you have to understand the people you're working with, and with them, dialogue to hear both sides of the coin is not as effective when you understand the people you're dealing with are closed-minded and they have interests of their own. It will be counterproductive. It really would. So someone's reaction here says he should not dialogue with Kanu. He has killed so many security officers, he has to pay for it. What? All right. Someone says, seems you and Adamu are from the same grandparents. Someone says dialogue is not the best option. Giving them freedom, they are freedom fighters. That poor illiterate Aboki is too small to organize a dialogue meeting with Nnamdi Kanu. Someone says, oh, it has now come to dialogue when you know already that people you have tormented, the whole country, the whole 85% of the citizens, you have killed many innocent citizens, demanding the right, you have not done anything good since 1960. Okay, this person literally goes into it. But again, it's like, I think that the relationship between the Nigerian government and the Igbos is just it's a different dynamic where it should just be between Nigeria or Nigerian government and Igbos, because what they've gone through in the hands of this government, in my personal opinion, I'm like, they have a right 1000% to leave. Because again, people change, I guess. The government is the government, but the people who are in the government change and all that. Maybe there's a possibility for change and all that. But the fact is, there has not been a proper reconciliation. There is not even a public holiday to recognize, or there's a memorial to recognize the lost people, the lost souls that the Nigerian government killed. For what? For what reason? And I think that the Biafran War is something that we should not just forget, because there's so many questions that need to be asked, that it literally was the foundation to why Nigeria is what it is today. Because again, for Nigeria's independence, it will be highly naive for us to think, and listen, it is highly naive for us to think that Nigerians are the only stakeholders when it comes to the possibility of disintegration. That's my personal opinion. If you want to prove me wrong. But then again, our independence was given. I know, yes, there were agitations, but again, if you strategically think of the way other African countries were getting their independence at the same time, it was bound to be like a domino effect for us to agitate for our own independence as well. Again, our independence was given. That means it came with conditions. Where is the paperwork? That is what we should be asking. Because it just seems like as if the government is so adamant in trying to cover it up. Let's just be one Nigeria. Let's not ask questions and let's just go with the flow. Absolutely not. So again, this sort of, well, this is a person's opinion. It's not even like as if it's a real, strategy that's going to be taken. It's not. It's someone's opinion, which fine, but it's like the action is not being taken. And I don't even think ever that Nnamdi Kanu will agree to go to a round table. They're basically planning, I don't even want to say what they're planning to do, but that would be just highly, what's the word? Untactical? Like, lack of tact. That's what I mean. But I think about it in the comment section below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.